Hello and welcome to Business Automation Library. My name is Masan, and today we're building an AI lead scoring and territory routing pipeline using Make.com and Claude AI. Here's what the finished system does. A lead submits a type form, Make.com picks it up instantly, sends the lead data to Claude to score ICP fit and intent on a 1 to 10 scale, parses the JSON response, routes the right Slack channel by territory, logs everything to an Airtable, and sends a personalized reply, all under 8 seconds without any manual steps. We'll walk through the architecture, wire up each module in Make.com, and run the complete pipeline end to end. All files are in the GitHub repo, link in description. Chapters are timestamped, so jump ahead if you already have a section set up. If your team is generating inbound leads, the first question you're constantly trying to answer is, which of these is worth acting on right now? Every lead in a shared inbox looks the same on the surface. Someone has to open each one, read through it, decide if this person is the right fit, figure out which rep should take it, and send a reply before any actual sales work has happened. The qualification layer is the bottleneck. It's slow, inconsistent, and it's the kind of repeatable classification that AI handles well. This project puts that layer on autopilot. Claude reads the lead's company, role, budget, and stated challenge, then returns two scores, ICP fit and intent, plus a priority tier and a written reasoning string. Make.com takes that output and wires it to three destinations: the right Slack channel for the territory, an Airtable record for the sales team CRM, and a personalized email back to the lead. If you want to understand how to integrate LLM into a real workflow like this, how to structure the prompt, get clean JSON out of it, and how to connect that to downstream actions, this is a solid pattern to build. Let's walk through the architecture before we start building. First, a lead would input their details through a Typeform submission, or you could adapt this to whatever your business currently uses to source leads. That's then picked up by a Make.com scenario, which goes through a series of steps. One is normalizing the lead data, then calling Claude AI to figure out the ICP fit, intent, priority tier. Then we parse the JSON response from Claude AI to use in later steps so that we can assign it to a territory at a certain rep, post in that specific Slack channel, log the record in Airtable, and then send an auto reply through Gmail. Here's our tech stack that we need to build this project. First is Make.com, which serves as our orchestration layer. Next is Typeform, which is our lead intake mechanism. Next, we have the Haiku model from Anthropic. This is actually a great way to show how a not so powerful model can score and fit intent. Then we use Airtable to log all of our records. We're using Slack webhooks to use territory-based channel routing. And then, of course, we have Gmail to send auto replies within seconds of submission. So here are the prerequisites. You can go to make.com to make an account. Same thing with Typeform. Anthropic API key is where you'll need to put probably $5 just to get the base calls running. Then Airtable, we can also set this up for free just to test. Next is a Slack workspace, which also works for free, and most businesses would have this. Lastly is a Gmail account. And that's all you need to get started. All right, now we'll jump into how we built this project. So we'll start with the Typeform. This is where all the lead data comes from. Within Typeform's platform, we can create a new form with this link up here. I'll show you the finalized form that's used to build this project. You can follow these field configurations if you want to build this exact flow, or you can adjust it for your own business needs. Let's go over this at a high level. The first one is just a what is your name, and that's a short text question for the lead's name. Then we ask for their work email, their company name, their role, how large their company is, and what their monthly budget is. We also ask what their primary challenge is and where they're based. This is where we get the geographical data. That's really it for the type form. It's quite simple. Next, we need to set up our Airtable, which is our CRM base. Within the CRM platform, we need to create a new base called Lead Scoring CRM. Inside of it, we can create a new table, which I've labeled leads, and we define all of these fields that we'll need for our make.com scenario to write to. So this essentially serves as our log for all of our lead data. We have simple lead IDs, our unique identifier. Then we have a name, email, company, role, company size, budget range. You'll see that a lot of these match to the Typeform submissions. Then over here to the right, we have the fields that the AI will write to, the ICP score, intent score, priority tier, recommended action, AI reasoning, assign rep, status, which is all automated, submitted, etc. Creating new fields is quite easy. We just hit the plus sign and then we can define whatever field type we want. And this is all included in the attached guide. All right, now here's the core build. Make.com is where we orchestrate all of these separate tools together into an automated workflow. Within the Make.com platform, we'll navigate to scenarios. This is our lead scoring CRM we already created. If we need to create one from scratch, we would go to create scenario up here. Let's go through this orchestration. First thing we have set up is a Typeform field that will look for new submissions. We can set it to look at a regular interval, either live or maybe every 15 minutes. Next, we normalize the data coming in from Typeform. So this we can use later to assign specific fields, for example, writing to the Airtable. We also use the Typeform submissions in a prompt to Claude. This is where we provide all of the detail that Claude needs to grade or assign a score to a specific lead. And you'll note in this first section, we're being very specific about the format we want returned. So we only want JSON returned, and that's just so that future processing is a lot simpler. So I've provided a JSON example down here. We then specify a JSON data structure from that Claude output. Next, we take all of the outputs from that JSON structure returned from Claude, and we assign values to them to use later. So for example, we can set the rep handle. We have reps for each territory. This could, of course, be linked to a live table if we had maybe more reps coming in and out. We have a priority label, which is just kind of, formatting things for our Slack post. We then have all of our Slack webhooks, and of course, these will be specific to your project so that you could post messages within your flow. And by the way, I'll be deactivating these, so don't worry about seeing it. Next is the Slack message, and this is where we construct the actual message that is output in the Slack channel. After that, we search for records. So for example, we would look for an email that's been submitted and just make sure that it isn't already there. And that's where we have this dedupe food search set up. So this is where we have a submission. We just want to make sure that it's not being reprocessed or input into our table. If it passes this check, basically a dedupe filter, it will actually create the record in Airtable. And I set up a connection up here um, on that Airtable that I showed you before. So we can have all of the fields that both the AI created and that were inputted in the Typeform written to the table. Next, we have our Gmail response. So this is just responding to the Gmail on that was sent, or whatever email that they input. We'll just send a response summarizing all their input details back to them. Next, we have this router setup. So this splits all of the actions into four different channels. One is North America, Asia, Europe in general. Based off of filters we set here, so for example, territory labels set to North America, it would then post a message to that specific channel. Now we'll show you the full flow of this project. So we're going to run through an entire workflow. Someone starting to write a lead intake form, going through the make.com scenario, the record being written to Airtable, and then finally the Slack channel being updated like this, where you can see previously James Hartley was written as a new lead. Let's start with the intake form. Let's write some random things like test. We'll do North America. We can just put in, I'll put this email so that we can actually see the auto reply. Company name will do Polaris Limited. And we'll write, we're CEO, just so that the model will score us as a important lead. We'll say our budget's 20 to 50K. We'll say we're trying to orchestrate our daily support operations, 2,000 plus interactions each day. So that'll be sufficiently big as a use case, and we'll just put Canada maybe. Okay, so now our type form is submitted. Let's go over to our make scenario, and I'll just hit run once. It should pick up that form we just submitted. Okay, we see it went through the whole flow and then wrote to North America. Then let's check. Um, we have that type form we just did, test North America, automatedglobe@gmail.com. All of the fields that we just input all are written here. Our challenge. And then here we have a recommended action. So it says we should call within 2 hours. Here's our reasoning step. This I love looking at. Um, CEO at a mid-market company, North America with strong budget signal. Okay, it's a great summary. Then we also have our rep assignment. This is just auto set for North America. We can look at our Sales North America Slack channel and we see this new submission. Then let's check our Gmail and we can see that auto reply. Okay. Now that we've successfully tested this automation, I like to talk about the cost, time, and skill it'll take you to build this project. So this project is relatively cheap. I mean, basically free to build. In terms of the production cost, you'll have to look into the make.com continual costs as well as Claude. I don't think that will be your main cost here. Also, there's all these tools like Typeform, Airtable, Slack, Gmail. I think it's more important to focus on make.com and Claude here because all of the other ones are kind of company specific and be swapped out. And also any existing business probably already has a lead intake mechanism. Time to build this is you can do this within a day. I provided all of the templates and the build guide within the GitHub repo. And it's around a beginner to intermediate level project to build. You don't really need to know how to code. You might need to be versed in prompt building, but of course you can use the example I already have there. So what do we do today? We built an event-driven pipeline using Typeform submissions as our intake source. We then used an LLM to classify each lead with ICP, fit, intent, and priority. We stored everything in an Airtable database for logging so that we can track when our leads came in and what the LLM assigned to it and its reasoning. We then had conditional routing. So based on the assigned geo and territory rep, we had specific Slack message written to that channel. We have an audit trail, as we already mentioned, with Airtable. And most importantly, all of the admin and annoying lead processing steps are somewhat automated. And so that the real work doing the sale is only involved when all those details are finished, right? So that's really the purpose of this project. So as I said before, everything is available in this GitHub repository down here. And there's also included a technical guide that you can use to build this project yourself. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope that you subscribe to build your arsenal of business automations.